All right, scholars, welcome. Before you start writing your common application essay in class, I want to help you with it. I want you to think of a few things before you start tackling the essay. These are a few things that I gleaned from writings, Psychology Today, admissions counselors, different admissions directors, some things that they're looking for in someone applying to their college. All right, the one thing they're looking for is students who have focus, who are masters of one particular area. That does not mean it has to be academic. Let's just say, give you an example of my brother. My brother Dave, smart guy. As a young kid, he was reading Ranger Rick magazine. He was subscribing to different magazines. He was into animals, he was into nature, and since he was young, he knew what he wanted to do from the age of, I don't know, 4 or 5. Now, PhD, ecologist, shows focus. So applying to the different schools, hey, I've been wanting to do this since I was little, and I know I focus, I know what I'm doing. Let me give you another example. I had a student a year or two ago called Evan. Evan comes to me, says, Mr. Bowne, I wrote this book about finances for students. High school students don't know too much about money. I wrote this book, it got it published, perhaps it was self-published, I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. Hey, he gave me a book with lots of information in it. That shows focus, and guess what? He's a finance major now in college. If I'm an admissions director and I see someone who's applying to college that wants to be a finance major that just thinks about it versus the person that has loved it since they were little, that shows focus. But it could also be the art of making tea, that you know every single Phillies statistic in the universe since back in the 1900s, right? Who are masters of one particular area. Think about why colleges would want this type of student. Focus, focus, focus. In an age of lots of things happening and not too much depth, this shows depth. The second thing they're looking for is pluck. Those who overcame a diversity. Let's say you were born without hands and you learned to write with your foot. That's an extreme example of adversity. But hey, if someone can do that, that person has tenacity, that person has grit, that new big buzzword, grit, and who overcame an adversity. I've had students who have come to this country knowing no English, and within 2 or 3 years, they're sitting in AP English getting a 5. I have no idea how they do that. That is amazing. I could not go to Bangladesh, or go to China, or go to India, or go to South America, and be an AP Spanish in Brazil, not Brazil, it's Portuguese, in Colombia, having no English, having no Spanish. It wouldn't make any sense. I couldn't do that. So those type of students, those who overcame an adversity, whether it's financial, whether it's physical, whether it was a birth defect, whatever it is, if you think you have that type of story, that's pretty good. You breaking your ankle or ACL tear, it was big for you, but I've read that type of essay thousands of times, working with hundreds of juniors every single year. Admissions have read that art. It's not enough of adversity, I think. Third thing, community spirit. Do not pick this out as something to write about or focus on if you went to a mission trip for a couple days, you came back and felt sorry for the poor. That's not really what you want to do. Louis C.K. had a joke about that, oh, I went on this mission trip, now I came back in my big mansion, and I really feel sorry for those poor people, and I recognize how lucky I am. That's not the point of this. The point of this is you care, your fellow man, your fellow woman means a lot to you, and you do things on a continual basis for the community. You started a program that got a lot of blankets for the poor, and you started this program. There's a student, I don't know if you know her, they own the pizza place up the road here in the Ritz. She started dresses for poorer students, prom dresses, and people would take their old prom dresses, donate these, so Girls could have these great expensive dresses, but they were free. And she got a lot of accolades, Channel 10 News, in the newspaper. That's community spirit, right? It does not have to be that extreme, but it needs to be serious. And you need to feel it. It's not fake. Number 4, curiosity. Colleges look for critical minds. What can I learn here? Right? Let's just say you wanted to know something that had nothing to do about a grade, nothing to do about a class. You just wanted to find out. Let me give you an example. In 9th grade, I was writing a book called The Devil's Calling. And in The Devil's Calling, it took place in the Soviet Union, in the future, on a space station, and I was writing this book. I wasn't studying for vocab. I was doing very poorly in English class. The English teacher did not like me. She thought I was a slacker who did not study for her stupid vocab quizzes. And because I was busy reading Tolstoy. I was busy looking at maps around Moscow. I was reading science books about artificial genetic engineering. I was looking at how another Russian Revolution could happen. And that's curiosity. All right? If I'm a college person, an admissions person, I would probably want that type of person than the person that just goes through and does what they're supposed to do and study for the vocab quizzes. I'm not sure. There's 2 different types of learners. I was one type of learner, and I was not the type of person that wanted to follow rules. So curiosity. They want to know, ask them, how is the subject taught here? How is biology taught? You're paying lots of money for these professors to give you knowledge. You should be able to ask some probing questions, right? Number 5, drive. Colleges look for self-starters, someone who's ambitious. I've had students that started their own lawn care service. I've had students who started their own babysitting service and a dog walking service, and all these different things. The student that wrote the book. These types of things show drive, self-starters, ambition. Think about why students like this would be successful, not just in college, but in life. Right? There's no one there prodding them to get up in the morning. You have something that you want, and you go out and you get it. It's the whole eye of the tiger cliche. All right? Drive. If you think you have a story or you have a personality that shows drive, then you might want to share it, and we'll talk about that. The 6th thing is, it's a bit nebulous. It's called personality, charisma. Why do people like you? Think about that. Go up to your friends and say, friends, Joe, Billy, Hannah, Morgan, why do you like me? It seems a little awkward, but what is it about? What's that je ne sais quoi? I know I'm slaughtering the French there, but what sets you apart? How do you spend your Saturdays? Do you spend it playing Xbox all day? Do you spend it, I once had a football player write about, and I think this was fairly, because he was a pretty good guy, and he played Tea Party with his younger sister. And she was really younger, and he was this big kind of football guy, but he wrote about sitting in this little seat, a little plastic seat, a little plastic table, playing Tea Party with his little sister. And I think he liked kids, and I think he was planning on being a teacher. But you wouldn't expect him. You think of the comedy of this big guy, this tackle, whatever, defensive end, playing Tea Party with his little sister, because he was babysitting, because the mom, dad working, and that essay was pretty good. But that showed his personality, right? And he used dialogue in the essay, and it was very good. So you want to consider these 6 points: focus, pluck, community spirit, curiosity, drive, personality. Are these the only things that colleges are looking for? No. Should you have a combination of these things? Perhaps. Do you need to have all of them? Absolutely not. But these are some things to think about when you're writing your essay. The thing that you want to think about when you're writing your essay is you're marketing yourself. What do I want college to know about me? What's not on my resume that I could share with admissions that paints me in a positive picture? You all put on Facebook different pictures of yourself. You market an image of yourself. I'm wearing this jacket, this tie, this shirt, these pants, these linen pants. It's for an image. I can tell you what that image is later over coffee, but it's you're painting a picture of yourself, and it's marketing, and you have to decide which story helps illustrate you. It's the little watermelon seed that helps explain the watermelon. You don't want to talk about the watermelon, you just want to talk about that little seed, and that little thing explains the whole. So the more narrow the subject is better, because then you can get into the concrete details, which we'll talk about in my next video.